Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another post-show breakdown here at BC Wrestle Pod. And welcome back to the Progressives, your, you know, monthly, I'll say at this point, Progress Wrestling post-show breakdown crew here at BC Wrestle Pod. My name is Mikey. I am El Jefe of BC Wrestle Pod, and I will be rocking the review solo tonight. I will also be rocking it solo on Monday too for Dream Queendom, but that's a whole nother story. But that's okay. I am going to be here to review Chapter 188, Unboxing 8, The Search for Socks. No card, no spoilers, no clue. So I'm excited. I cannot wait to talk about Progress Wrestling. This is a really fun show to end 2025 on. And what better way to start off 2026 than to review this? So I'm excited. Before I get into all of it, first and foremost, I love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. A little bit of the announcements really quickly. If you like what you see here, you can subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Twitch or Kick, to whatever your preferred video platform is. If you're looking for something more self-contained, you can go ahead and follow us on your favorite social media site at BC Wrestle Pod, where we do report cards, prediction forms, preview the weeks of wrestling television. It's a lot of fun. We also have some merchandise in our store, bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com. And then, of course, if you feel inclined to help us pay for these pay-per-views, the little coffee bot will be popping up throughout the review. So this is great. Before I get into it, though, I got to shout out and wish a happy new year to our great friend over at the Nick Happy Hour Wrestling Podcast, who was in the chat for this one for a little bit. So happy new year to you. Cheers to the positive 2024. 6. And yes, doing it by myself ain't so bad, honestly. Be like Pink, it's just me and my hand tonight. Anyways, so I am here to be going over and breaking down Chapter 188, Unboxing 8, The Search for Socks. And this was a very interesting show because just like the tagline says, no idea what the card was, did not know who was going to show up until I watched the show. So I don't have any graphics for the matches. I don't have anything. So we're just gonna go through it. So of course, we always have to start out with our good friend Jerry Blakewell, who is our MC for our shows in the Electric Ballroom. He came out dressed as Santa, and he let us know that we're about to have a good time. So after he does his intro bit, we get into our first match of the evening, which was a six-way scramble, which saw the likes of Alexis Falcon, Harley Hudson, Lana Austin, Maddie Morgan, Rio, and Holly Barlow. So, of course, we started with Lana Austin and Holly Barlow. As they came out, they were delivering Christmas cards to everyone. It was hilarious. And then getting all the women to come into the ring. So this was a 6-woman scramble. This was really, really fun to watch. Of course, I am familiar with most of these women. The only 2 new ones that were new to me is Miss Maddie Morgan. And we haven't really seen too much of Holly wrestle either outside of 1 or 2 matches for Progress this year. But, of course, I was happy to see Harley Hudson back. She is currently signed to TNA and doing the wonders over there. And because TNA had all their tapings done at the beginning of December, it allowed Harley to go and do some other dates as well, and this was one of them. I thought this was a very fun 6-woman scramble. I thought this was a great opening to the show. It showcased, the newer stars to Progress, as well as our more established vets in the company. And this was a really fun back and forth, but it would ultimately be Alexis Falcon who would pin Harley Hudson for the win. And we're going to talk about Alexis a little bit later towards the tail end of the show because this win kind of set herself up to what we are getting in Darkest Night, Chapter 189, come this month in January. So after this, we get a little bit of a commercial where we are given the dates for, Progress Wrestling Super Strong Style 16, their yearly tournament. But the difference is with the 2026 Super Strong Style 16 tournament is that there is a men's and a women's tournament, which makes me super excited. And so what they're doing this year a little bit differently is that they are going to be having their first round matches across the world for the men and the women. And then we will get our quarterfinals and semifinals matches and our finals over the course of the 2 days at Super Strong Style 16. The reason I bring this up is because this leads into our next match where we have Mr. Charles Crowley, everyone's favorite lovable twat, and we love him dearly. He comes out and he announces himself for Super Strong Style 16, which is the tournament that he was supposed to be in the last year, but due to injury, he was not medically cleared to participate in it, and it was very sad for him not to be able to compete. But he declares himself here, and thus we get his opponent for the match in Mr. Bullet. So this becomes Bullet versus Charles Crowley. I did not expect Charles to win here. I love him to death, but he's been on a little bit of a losing streak. 2025, but that's okay. We love him. We love our lovable twat. Oh my goodness, excuse me. It's been a long day. But this match was a lot of fun. I think it definitely showcased both men. It definitely showed the funny side of Charles Crowley, as we all know and love him. Bullet is now steadily getting more and more back into progress as the big bruiser of this division, which we sorely need right now. And Bullet ends up picking up a win over Charles Crowley in a very good but short match. So of course Charles takes the bow. He is excited. This is going to be a good time, and he looks forward to Super Strong Style 16. So it was a really short match, but it was really, really fun. Then we get into probably one of my favorite matches, just from the comedy aspects of things, because next we get our tag team match. So we have, the Session Moth family being led by Session Moth Martina. And we have the team of Gene Money and Koga of Pro Wrestling Noah taking on British tag team True and Lacey. Again, this was another short match, but it was still a really, really fun one. And of course, this saw a lot of the comedy spots, but it also reminded us that Gene Money is actually him. And, despite the comedy bits, like the twisting of the nips and doing some funny bits in here, he is a fantastic wrestler. And I'm really been impressed with what I've seen from Koga so far, too. Of course, I am not 100% into Pro Wrestling Noah. I do keep tabs on it from time to time. And it's something I definitely want to explore more of come this year in 2026. This was a really fun back and forth. True and Lacey are also very new to me, and I thought this was a really, really solid match. But ultimately, it would be Gene Money and Koga who would pick up the victory over True and Lacey. And it was a blast. I had a good time with this one. After the match, however, we ended up getting a quick little promo from Gene Money talking about how, 2026 is going to be different for the Session Moth family. And so Gene Money calls out the current Progress Tag Team Champs, Diamond Eyes, for a match at the tag team titles come January. And so everybody's leaving the ring. Gene Money and Koga leave the ring. Session Moth is kind of just chilling in the ring, getting the rest of her stuff as she leaves. And then we have Nico of Diamond Eyes attack Session Moth, which sets up, the match that we are getting in Darkest Night, sorry. In Darkest Night, we are getting Koga and Gene Money versus Diamond Eyes for the Tag Team Championships. So that should be a really, really fun one. So then we get into our fourth match, which would mark the end of the first act of Unboxing 8, in which we get the return, in-ring wrestling-wise return of Spike Trevay, the Vulture of Progress Wrestling. And so he gets on the mic. He talks about how he's been a very naughty boy and how he has called out anybody in the locker room to come step to him and wrestle him in his return to the ring in Progress. And then the biggest shock of the night for me, we get the familiar dog barking track, and it is New Japan own Drilla Maloney. So Bullet Club War Dogs member Drilla answers the call, and this ends up being one of my top matches of the evening. I will say I think this is probably in my top 3 of the card for sure. And this was a really brutal back and forth. There's some stiff work, there's some chops, There was some throwing into chairs, some use of chairs. This was a bruiserweight fight. And I had such a fantastic time watching both men go back and forth with it all. And to my surprise, Drilla would pick up the victory over Spike. And Drilla is probably going to head back over to New Japan. Now, it has been noted that Drilla and his other stablemates, Clark Connors and David Finlay, as well as current tag champs, Knockout Bros, their New Japan contracts are coming up very, very soon. And so New Japan is going to see if they can re-sign them or if they're going to go to other places. So I'm excited to see where everyone goes. But this match between Drilla and Spike was really, really good. This definitely was in my top 3 of the night. So that would end the Act 1 portion of Unboxing 8. We would get a 15-minute intermission. Jerry gets back on the mic, does his emceeing business, and then we jump straight into our 5th match of the morning, afternoon, evening, whatever you want to call it. And this was an 8-man tag team match. So, of course, we had the team of Josh Hawley, Scott Oberman, and Lycos Jim. And we get the Avengers Assemble, kind of, because then we get everybody's favorite wrestling internet bald man, Simon Miller, and he teams up with Drew Parker and Sunshine Machine in this funny 8-man tag match. This match was ridiculous. It had comedy spots. It had fun wrestling. This was just a fun way to open up Act 2. Of course, Simon Miller and Josh Hawley have been going back and forth over the last couple of months. And I foresee it continuing in 2026 between the two. So it should be very, very interesting. Of course, I love Drew Parker, GCW. Boy, we love Drew Parker in this household. Sunshine Machine is a fan favorite. I love them to death. And I loved everyone in this match. It would be Team Simon who would pick up the victory here. Lycos Jim is on a collision course of probably imploding and having some issues because Kid Lycos got caught with the hammer by his tag team partner. It's just crazy. Yeah, this was a wild one for sure. I had a great time. It was a blast for sure. Oh man, I had a good time with this. Again, Simon Miller, Drew Parker, and Sunshine Machine would pick up the victory here. After that match, we get into our 6th one, which was, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. So the last 2 matches are championship matches for the men and the women's championships, right? So we start with the Progress Men's Championship, which is going to see our champion, man like Darice, come in with my favorite entrance of all time. My other co-host, Andrew, loves this as well. So I had a blast with this one. And answering the challenge is New Japan star Robbie X. I love Robbie. He's been so good in 2025 from his appearances in CMLL and the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. In New Japan, he's been really great. I'm gonna be honest. This was my match of the night. I'm like, yes, ma'am. This was so much fun. This was a high speed, British style catch wrestling style match. I had such a blast with this one. It was so much fun, and I definitely had a good time with this one. This was really fun to see Darice kind of like have to be able to work with a faster style wrestler. I mean, he did it with Leo Rush over the, fall, which was really, really fun. Yeah, this was fantastic. It was great. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I don't have enough words in the English dictionary to describe how good it was. Now, Darice does in here and in a very, very fun way, but Darice gets on the microphone, and I was a little bit surprised because I thought we were going to wait a little bit for this one, but nah, we're jumping straight into it. So Darice gets on the microphone. He says he's tired of the sneak attacks. He's tired of all the BS. And he calls out Cara Noir for a match for this championship, which is officially now announced for In Darkest Day. So in Darkest Day, it is going to be man like Darice defending the Progress Men's World Championship against Cara Noir. And I don't know, man. I like Reese, but I can see Cara Noir also getting this championship. But man, it's going to be a good match in January. I am so excited. Finally, we get into the main event, which is for the Progress Women's World Championship. So shout out to Progress for women main eventing, because these companies out here in the States need to do better. But we get our challenger in we get our challenger for this match, which makes me super excited. And Kanji is back, and she wants this championship. Oh my gosh, I was excited. And Kanji took on our current Progress Women's Champion, Rain Leverkusen. I love Rain so much. She's become one of my favorites. This was a baller match. This was a hard-hitting match. This was fun. Kanji doing everything she can to brutalize her way to the championship, but it would not be enough because Rain would end up, through a hard-fought battle, be able to pin Kanji to retain her Progress Women's World Championship. This has been such a fun run for Rain. But we end the show with Alexis Falcon, who ended up winning that scramble match. And while it wasn't officially told to us, that win would allow Alexis to get a championship match. So Alexis calls her shot, and she challenges Rain Leverkusen for the Progress Women's World Championship. And I'm excited. So this show gave us 3 matches that are set up for In Darkest Day, which is chapter 189 coming up here in January. So it's the tag titles. So Koga and G-Money taking on Diamond Eyes. Man Like DeReese defending his title against Cara Noir. And Rain Leverkusen defending her title against Alexis Falcon. So Rain accepts the challenge, and that is how Unboxing 8 goes off the air. Once again, this is one of these things, like, I love it. Thank you, Nick. No, honestly, it's really easy for me to talk about Progress Wrestling because it's always going to be good wrestling, but I want people to expand. I want people to give your British wrestling a chance, and whether you want to go with Progress or Rev Pro, those are some of the 2 ones that I am keeping my tabs on. And of course, since we're breaking down Progress here on a monthly basis, I'm excited. But Unboxing 8 earned a B+ for me. I thought it was a really solid show. I thought it was a fun way to end 2025. And this show ultimately was used to set up what we are getting for the first chapter of 2026, which is coming to us live on Sunday, let me make sure I get this date right, because Progress is going to kill me. So on Sunday, January 25th, we will get chapter 189 In Darkest Day. We have those 3 championship matches happening and whatever else they decide to throw at us on that day. And we, the Progress Wrestling Review team, will be here Monday, the 26th, to break it down, because there's also something else going on the Thursday that we typically review Progress. So it's going to be crazy. I know that for sure. But Nick, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being in the chat for a little bit. Yeah. Hold up. Progress is solid wrestling. Also, Progresso is also solid super. And it's cold. People stay warm during this winter season. I don't know what you mean. It's not cold over here, but we sure did get a lot of rain. But that's going to be it for me here at the Progressives Reviews. This is it for the rest of the week. We are still kind of resetting and going through all of our stuff and on our 2-week vacation. But do not change the channel, because next week we are back to our regular scheduled programming, which includes a fully fun stacked week. This is going to be amazing. Monday, I will be here with the rest of my Stardom crew as we review Stardom Dream Queendom, one of the big Stardom shows that over this past week. And then Tuesday and the rest of the week is our regular schedule. We have our AEW post-show breakdown on Tuesday, NXT and CMLL on Wednesday, and on Friday, we're back with TNA. So I'm excited. This is going to be so much fun. Yes, click the like. Thank you, Nick, for the appreciation and the kind words. I'm going to text you after I'm done here. But thank you so much for tuning in with me this evening. I look forward to being back to our regular scheduled programming next week. But until then, that's going to be it for us here at the Progress Wrestling Pro Show Breakdown. I am Mikey, And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We'll see you later for all the stuff that we got going on next week. But until then, sayonara, adios, and until next time, peace.